before we started this, so that, you know, we have a little bit of gap between all the other celebrations and then our special celebration. We have a lot of exciting things planned. Very, very warm welcome to all of you, and especially to our women warriors in India. Scotland, Jyoti, I know Deep, Rajani has joined, and we're expecting Arti to be here pretty soon as well. Thank you so much, Jasneet and Ashwini, for spearheading this and coming up with the idea, and for giving me an opportunity to work on this. I had so much fun as well. And so I would like to welcome Jasneet and Ashwini to say a few words to everybody. Ash, do you want to go first?
Thank you so much. Thanks, Rohini, for spearheading the whole, Women's Day celebration. I know it's a little like after Women's Day, but we wanted to get everybody together. There are so many really inspiring women within Vibha, especially the ones who are working on the ground, like Scotland, Jyoti, Deep, Arti, and Zankanaji, who couldn't make it today. And you guys have taught me a lot on my journey in Vibha, and I really appreciate you taking your time and coming here and sharing your story with us and your perspective. It's going to shed a lot of light on what we are doing at Vibha and how we are accomplishing this, and in the process, how very strong and inspiring women like you are a part of this whole movement. So thank you. And I'll give it to Jasneet for a couple of words.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. And thank you everyone for joining today and celebrating Women of Vibha, and making time for this. Really, it means a lot. Thanks. Jasneet, take away.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ashwini. Thank you so much, Rohini. Actually, Rohini spoke wrong. She pretty much spearheaded the whole thing. She's prepared everything. So if it doesn't work right, it's her fault. So, but first of all, thank you so much, everybody, for being here. I know there are different time zones and everybody it struggles with the time. And thank you so much for being here. But more than that, thank you so much for staying with Vibha for so many years, for making the difference that we want to make a difference, and for being associated. Thank you for your volunteer time. I also want to extend a big thanks to all the gentlemen who have joined, because honestly, we do celebrate Women's Day. We do not celebrate Men's Day, but I think all women can become stronger women with the strong men supporting them. So thank you so much for being there, for being the support system that we need and deserve, right? So thank you so much, and thanks everybody for being here.
Here. All right.
Awesome. So the first thing that we're going to do this evening is I'm going to invite all of our lovely speakers from India to talk. And first up will be Scotland. Thank you so much for joining, Scotland. If you want to give a really short, talk about, we want to hear about you, what brought you into this field of work. We'd love to hear any stories that you can share with us about a time that you were moved by what you saw, or perhaps by some great challenge that you faced, and how did you work through it? How did you persevere? And a message to all the women who have joined us here today. So I'll turn it over to you, Scotland. Thank you so much.
So thank you, everyone in Vibha, for giving this opportunity. So because many times we talk only about projects, so this is one opportunity where we are talking to about ourselves and what are the things that made us to stay in this field. So about me, I was born and brought up in a typical middle-class Christian family in Chennai, and I stay with my parents and since 1974, since I was born, and I have a younger brother and I have two nieces. So to me, home means heaven. So I really thank God for giving me such a blessed home, so I could do whatever I can. And all the members, every member in my family supports in what I do. So that's about me. And thank you, Rohini, because your guideline, I'll just try to stick to that guideline. And it was to the point. So now I'll just share what brought me to this field of work. So when I was 11 or 12, I know for sure that computers was emerging then in the 80s, and every parent wanted to make their child to become an engineer. So one thing I knew in my life is like I was always sure of what I didn't want. So I really didn't want to become an engineer, but I couldn't express that because my mother was literally preparing me for a rat race. So till from the right time I was born till I finished my high school and high secondary, that's 12th grade here in India, my father never interfered. So it was always my mother who took care of everything, especially our studies. So when my board exam results came, I just told my mother, like, no, I'm not going to do anything engineering. She said she was even ready to do a management quota and get into it. Then that was the first time my father opened his mouth and said, let's not put our child in something that she doesn't want to do. So that point I didn't know, other than engineering and medicine, I didn't even have a clue what should I do. So I told my father, I said, like, now you have to tell me that you have started talking to our mom on behalf of me. Now you have to tell me what I need to do because I don't know. So I was open. So then he told me, like, I always wanted to do literature, so you take literature. So I didn't have a clue because I always I was very good in history and English in school. So I thought, like, okay, anyway, I'll do my literature. But after joining college, what I learned was it was all about novels and talking. I mean, it was British history and American history. Then I just told my father, I don't know who's going to give me work after doing literature. My father said, like, no, just don't do. I mean, you don't have to. I mean, you can teach in school if you want. Otherwise, you can just become a professor. So then I told teaching was not my cup of tea. So then then one thing I understood in that 5 years of literature was definitely English. Okay, it made me a better person. But what I understood is because through literature I could see many characters that I would ever, I have never come across, and I was able. But one thing remained the challenge with there in literature was I could never relate to what I studied because English, American society or the British. So I told my father, like, no, just give me a couple of years more. I wanted to do something that, that will take me closer to people. So then he suggested sociology. I said, like, sociology is something very big. So I took anthropology first as my second master's and started doing anthropology. And then I knew this is what I wanted to do. So after my post-graduation in anthropology, I started working among the tribes in India. So my first assignment, so that exactly tells you, like, no, I was like always drawn to work with people, and it happened. So I was less concerned, and I literally prepared my parents that this sector is not going to be very lucrative, but it's going to be fulfilling. And I said, like, no, I have to make. I said, like, no, so you have to ensure that there are no expectations from me. So till this day, 25 years have passed by. So there is, I don't have to take care of anything at the home front. It is all about, I don't have to support anybody. So that in that way, it was very interesting. And I began my journey now I'll say what was the time. So I started working in the tribes, and it so happened in 2003, not by choice, but by accident, the organization that I work for, the nonprofit, sent me to the United States. So the first thing I always wanted to see in the United States was, I said, like, can you take me to the Red Indian families? Though at that particular program was part of Bridging World's Emerging Program, where like they were grooming the second line leadership in women by women organizations in the United States. So that gave me a very good exposure. And just to tell you what is the time you were moved, when the people who organized it took me to a few Red Indian families in the United States, I was greatly moved because a previous assignment was in a tribal area where still people are tribal, and even the rural scheme doesn't reach them. But whereas in the United States, I saw that they were all part of the welfare schemes, and they were at least like living like I could see living like in a middle class family in India. So that I think that made a very big impact, and I thought, when on earth my country is going to become like that, where at least government takes initiatives to make make policy so that like these people become move to the next level. So that was my real time where I was greatly moved. And second thing also happened was I was very determined that after seeing I got an exposure to visit more than 22 to 25 women's organizations in the United States, except the Midwest. I traveled across, and I saw their problem, social ills of America was also like very intense. So I thought, okay, at least I'll just like go back and try to work wherever I'm comfortable. So it's not, the idea is to solve the problem. I was very clear, let me just do whatever bit I can. So the next, I think, guideline was like, what was a great challenge? See, in the nonprofit sector, what I understood was like, when in my introduction, I mentioned that I grew up in a Christian family. So there were a lot of value systems, and of course, I follow the 10 Commandments. So, but what happened was, when I was in the nonprofit sector, corruption was very high in India. So at least in the United States, what I saw was people who want to make a difference are making a difference in the sector. And when I left the United States, what I thought was, okay, when I get back, I will start working for US-based nonprofits. So, so it's like today, after 13, now it's 20 years. In 2016, when I joined Vibha, I think to a great extent, all the Vibha volunteers, whether they are board members or volunteers or project leads, they are helping me to dream come true, which means to say that we were able to remove the bad apples, and we were trying to be the transparency of the organization, and that is what really motivates me to stay in Vibha. So I say difference, what we make is like it's going to happen whether in our lifetime or a little later, but that's not more important. But the efforts and whatever I had a dream of a perfect nonprofit where there's no corruption, there everybody is genuine. So I think that was that I could get after 13 years of 13 years of like my dream to work for a nonprofit. So in that way, I would really be thankful to everybody in Vibha. And of course, it is tough. It's tough, but all the volunteers understand it and help me through the process. So because the question was also, did you get past the challenge? I will say no completely, but still to a great extent, yeah, yes, I'm able to get past the challenge. And what was the story or a challenge which was worth it? I think that immediate story that reminds me of is that the hospital that we built in Bangalore, because there were a lot of challenges from outside as well as from inside to build that hospital. And I had to go through a lot of, because single-handedly during COVID time, I had to face a lot of challenges. But today when I see, when the hospital is up and when I see patients getting treated in that hospital, that's really was like, very I thought like whatever challenges were there, it was worth it. So in that way, like, that project during COVID was really motivating for me. And if I have to say a one line inspiring a message to the women out there, I know Laurel Patel, all of you are citizens there, but still when I had an exposure to United States, and when I observed women and men, I felt women are rebellious and men are delinquent. This was my observation. So what I would say is like, be a helper always, especially women, because we can't change everything upside down on one day or during even our generation. But you always serve as a helper. There's nothing like, though I use the word helper, doesn't mean that it is like underrated. There's no, it's not like, no, it's nothing inferior. You be helpful to the family, you be helpful to the organization, you be helpful to the country at large. Thank you.
Wow, that was truly inspiring, Scotland. Thank you so much for all of those insights. If we can get a quick round of applause. We will open the whole stage up after we hear from all our speakers. So stay on if you have questions. For Scotland, I know I have a couple of follow-ups, but we'll do that at the end. So I want to take.
I think you can also post your questions on the chat. We will monitor that. And Rohini, maybe I'll feed that to you if you.
Yes, and then I can ask them the questions. Yeah.
Please use the chat.
Yes, use the chat. Perfect. Jasneet, I'm gonna have you take over now and play for us a very quick video, guys. So what I did is I went ahead and pinged all of the action centers around the country, and even like curated some of our volunteer base to really showcase some of the work that women and girls do in our organization. So the first of the videos is coming right up.
With you till the end, this you help you bend when it gets tough. And when you're scared, they're gonna be right there. So hold on to your friends. I was right there when you struggled with Ryan, and you were right here when my dad went away. We stayed out, all of the hangovers laid on the couch. Yeah, the times we don't talk about. And the boyfriends may change, and so will our second names. But one thing stays the same is us. Yeah. We'll make the mistakes, but we ain't to blame, 'cause they bring out the best in us.
That was a really quick collage of a few of our action centers. Stay tuned for more coming up. Is Arti here? Arti, did she get a chance to join?
I'll follow up with her.
Okay.
Arti was not well, actually, so
okay.
I'm not sure whether she'll be able to join, but maybe there's a message on WhatsApp. Let's see.
That's fine. We'll move on in that case. And I know Jyoti is here. So why don't we get started with Jyoti next? I want to give a very quick introduction. And this is something that Shijit sent me, Jyoti. He called you Miss Dependable. He said that you are just super reliable and you have like so much experience with Vibha, I guess like 12 years, if I'm not mistaken. And excellent connection with the volunteers, just a ton of good things that he had to say about you and your relationships and, you know, all the work that you do. So we'd love to hear from you, your story, some of your challenges, some of the things that moved you, anything inspiring to share?
You're on mute. Jyoti,
Jyoti,
please
you're on mute,
unmute.
please.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rohini. So, okay, so how did I come into the field? So I had just finished my BCom and I wanted to do my post-graduation, and my family wanted me to do MCom. And that time MCom, like so many people were doing MCom, and I was looking for something which will assure me a job. Okay, and I am also from a very quite middle class family with a little liberal values. I had a word with all my family members. I was talking to my uncles and aunties, and to look out for some good field for me. And I was also searching for myself. So that time, one of my uncle had, he was helping his friend out, and he met one person who helped him solve that case, and that was like some domestic violence case dealing with the women and child. And he was quite impressed by that person, and he just happened to ask him, what did you do to get into this field, and you are so knowledgeable, and you are doing such a good work. So she had mentioned about something called as MSW, Masters in Social Work. This is the field, social field, and you can help out people. And at that time he came to know. So there was some college called Nirmala Niketan College of Social Work where you study and get into this professional field. So he came and told me, and that was like, I mean, I really did not know anything much about social welfare, and this was the only information I had. And I went to the college, I got the form and I filled the form, and there was a group discussion. I prepared for the group discussion and got into it. Of course, that was somehow I got into it, but then later on the field, I mean, I was absolutely very not very happy with the field because it was dealing with the practical problems, practical life problems. And you know, at that age, you are in so much of glamour and you want the best kind of job, best kind of workplace. And here I am in a field where I was placed into slums, where you know the autos don't go for 1 kilometer, and then you have to walk in the hot sun. You have to manage, and then there's open garbage. So dealing with practical problems. Also, the if you look at the schedule in the college, it was like we are into development sector, social sector. We were sitting beside each other, but it was so hectic that we didn't have time to speak to each other. So lectures after lectures, and then field work, and then assignments, and all these things. So, and dealing with a group dynamic, there was so much of politics, and everybody, there was so much of competition, and it was so difficult for me. Of course, the syllabus was quite interesting. We had psychology, and then we had sociology, and then you know women's issues, and studying marriage, different stages of marriage, what happens, exploitation of the women, and many other things. So while studying psychology, also I used to relate what happened in my life, how I was dealing with this situation, where did I react, and that was how the transformation started happening within me. So one point was that whenever I got a new thing, I always was applying that thing on me. And it was more focused on becoming a good person, whether I am true to myself, or whether I was trying to impress others, or you know, that kind of thing. So this is how I got into the field. And after 1 year, I decided that I will not continue with this. So I told my mom. I used to wake her up early in the morning at 4 o'clock and say that I'm not going to continue. Please, I will not continue in this field. I want to do this secretarial practice course, which one of my friends was doing, and I said that I will become a secretary and I will take up one night job. And somehow after 2 months, she got convinced. And later on, the result came, and people started calling me, Jyoti, when are you coming to college? You're passed. And so that way, then I said, okay. And it was also creating a guilt in me because I have not left anything. It's like a defeat, you know, because somewhere I had taken up something and I did not complete it. So that was also, so I said, okay, let me try for 2 months. So the next year was quite smooth, and I continued with this field, and I finished my this MSW. So before coming to Vibha, I was working in other small organizations, Don Bosco's and many other organized places I have worked in. So as far as the challenges are concerned, initially, I mean, it is not connected only to women, this thing. I was quite young, and then I was in Don Bosco's, I was a shelter coordinator for street children, and it was 11 people's team. So you can imagine I was a new girl who had come, and they were all the senior people who were working, and especially male staff was also there. So it was very difficult for me to handle that team, and I used to often run back to father, this person, how do I deal with this person? Whenever I say something, people are not listening. So that was one of the handling such a big group. And then we had street children who were very demanding, who are not like normal children. And then when you can't even hit those children, because if you hit, they will run away. It was a residential home, so you are lost one opportunity to create a good life for them. So that way, so that was one thing. Later on, when I came to Vibha, I was like a very simple person who was like, basically worked at the grassroots level organization, and Vibha was something where everything was online. I had never traveled on my own. So, journey planning, kind of connecting trains, how to plan a journey, how to see that there's enough gap between one destination to another destination, how to do ticket booking. I never knew anything, absolutely anything, and I was very lucky that when I came in for 2 years, Zankhana ji used to call me to her house, and then I used to sit beside her, and she used to do everything for me. I used to just watch. And later on, I slowly took up. Also, here one of the thing was traveling alone at night. So sometimes, usually we plan our journey wherein we are very particular about the timing. Where before 8 o'clock you are in your hotel, you are in your room, and then you move out so that you are safe as a girl. But sometimes, at times, sometimes it happens that we land up traveling in the evening because sometimes the flights are not available, or because of some reason you have to. So that time when I am in the cab and all, literally now also I am, as a girl, I am really scared if my heartbeat goes up whether this guy is taking me to right location. Now, of course, we have that GPRS and we can trace the location and all. But still, so that is one of the things. When I entered, also being alone in the hotel was a challenge. This is at a very personal level. Very few people know this. But I was a simple girl from a middle class family. Whenever I open my eyes in the morning, always we will have my brother or my mother or my father or somebody in the house. I was never left alone. This was a time where during the daytime you are with a big team on the field visit, but at night you have to manage on your own. And I'm very sensitive to noise, and it was first time that I was left alone. I am alone in the hotel room. And even when I used to hear, I remember anybody walking upstairs or downstairs, even that noise, that sound used to scare me so much. My heartbeat used to go up with all the strangers around. And sometimes, in some of the 10 years back, situation was quite different, and Scotland was not there. I used to travel all across, and sometimes because the projects were in remote villages, in lonely places, and at night many times I used to hear some noises, weird noises. So that was also very scary for me. I remember once I was in MP, and that was a place where that was the only hotel I remember. Thank you, Niyati. So that was the only hotel I remember that was there in the place, and it was such a disgusting place to be. But the other hotel was around 60 kilometers away, so I chose to be in that place, and that was near one river. So when you open it in the daytime, it was looking very fascinating, but at night time you would see dark black water and huge river, and it was so scary. So I used to close this, and then in the room, I remember that there was only one dustbin and 2 empty bottles of distillery bottles which I had to pick. And December time, it was very cold, and at night suddenly some noise started coming. Somebody somebody was hammering something kind of, and that noise was from my room only, and there was nothing, only that dustbin. And if I open the door at 12 o'clock, if I open the door at night, there were all male members who were not very qualified people, because it was a village. So I remember, like, I was on the bed looking at with big eyes to that dustbin, and I never knew from where the noise was coming. And early then I slept like this, and early in the morning I gave a big kick to that dustbin, and only 2 bottles came out. And I still don't know, it is a mystery from where the noise was coming. But I know what kind of that time was so difficult for me, that outside there are men and inside the room there are strange things happening. So, so that was it. And because of this, it was also it was also deteriorating my mental health, because that was creating a lot of anxiety, and I was feeling that I was sinking inside. So finally, and this kind of experiences used to scare me, and that was really affecting me. So at one point of time, I went to my counselor and I told her that this is the thing and I don't want to leave this job. I had a conversation with my auntie, and my auntie said that आप छोड़ दो ये जॉब, ज्योति, नहीं तो आप बर्बाद हो जाओगे. आपका मेंटल हेल्थ अगर गया ना, तो आप कहीं कुछ नहीं कर पाओगे. You can earn money in some other job also, but this is not good traveling to such remote locations, and then being alone. If you lose your mental health, you're not going to gain anything. And when I seriously thought about it, my heart was saying, no, I can't leave this job at any cost. Kuch bhi ho jaye, I will not leave it. I mean, this is what I really wanted. This is something which was giving so much of satisfaction for me, and something where I could literally see the difference happening. I'm not going to leave. And I told her that I will not leave. If I die also, na, people will say, "Kaam karte karte mar gayi, chalega," but I will not leave. So I went to my counselor. I spoke to her. I told her that this is the thing, and this is really scaring me at home also. At one point of time, it was like I was feeling that kind of thing in my house also. In my house, you should never be scared in your own house, right? But because of these strange experiences, and then she gave some tapping mantra. She said that whenever you start feeling something, just try to tap your body. And that was the time I think I was also looking to answer, why is it happening with me? Why am I feeling this kind of energy? And why is again and again these kind of incidences? So that was the time I think I went into spirituality, and now I'm. If you look at that journey, I am totally in a different, also in spiritual world. So so that was it. That was one of the experience. And there are many, but then it would become too long, so I don't want to make it too long. But of course, when I came in Vibha also, it was like Zankanati was quite senior to me, and other challenge was like I was working. Thank you. So I was. It was like working with all the senior people. So in the projects when I went. There were so many seniors and expert people. They are subject matter expert with a lot of experience on the ground. So many times when I wanted to convey my point, there was quite a lot of resistance. It was not very easy to work with them. So off and on, I used to take consultation from Zamkanaji and ask her. And for me, it is like to avoid conflict and to get things done in a simple and easy way, and not to get into complication. And whatever you do in a good way, that much only you can do. Otherwise, in the long run, it is not going to benefit anything. So that was my aim, to whatever in a good way and in a good manner. So that was one of the places, but it took around 5-6 years for me to earn this. Otherwise, they used to just treat me like some girl has come from Pune agency, give her invitation and she's out, let her go. That it was that kind of attitude from them. So now when I go, I see a lot of difference, that, oh, Jyoti ji aayi hai, please come in. And they will, so you see the difference in the attitude also. So also another thing was I had my grandma with me, who was living with me for a long time. She was 90 years and I was taking care of her. And also see, you have a commitment towards your family also. You cannot ignore. To some extent you can, but to some extent you cannot. You have to take your family along. So I think being in Vibha, this was one of the best thing, that because I work from home, I give quite a lot of time for my granny. She passed away 1 year back, but it gave me a lot of time. So I'm very thankful to Vibha for that. Other thing which you know, what makes me stay in this field is that whatever work I have done, many of the, when I started, they were very small projects. They were struggling for basic English, they didn't know English. So they used to often call me, ask me for help, whether you can help us out for that, which was actually not my work. And as a donor agency, you're not even supposed to do. But then I used to go out of way and help them. And on the ground, at least I was very happy that, people genuinely came and they acknowledged that, Jyoti, thank you so much for helping. And that made a lot of difference to me. At least, I mean, I could see with my own eyes, I could feel it that whatever work and hard work that I am doing is gaining fruit. Children are benefiting, people are benefiting, and they come and acknowledge you. So that was great, because material things and all, okay, it is only for this life, but whatever blessings you take, that is going to go with you when you die also. So for me, that is also very, very important. That angle is also very important. I strongly believe in karma, and sometimes I feel that because I am so stuck with my deeds and my principles, and on probably I cannot progress, or I am not at a very top level, but that's okay for me, no problem. For me, being a good person and my value system and these jobs gives me a little space and satisfaction wherein I am putting in my work, and that is valued a little. So that is good for me.
That's so inspiring, Jyoti. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jyoti. And just a really quick time check. We'll get back to any questions that anybody has for Jyoti. I know that the chat is just exploding with a whole bunch of questions, but in consideration of time, we'll get to the end and then we'll open up the floor.
Yes.
So thank you so much for sharing all of your vulnerabilities, Jyoti, and I'll pass it to Jasneet to give us a really quick update.
Remember where I told you, no matter where I go, I'll never leave your side. You will never be alone. Even when we go through changes, even when we're old, remember that I told you I'll find my way back home. I can never let you go. Couldn't run away if I tried. 'Cause even when I'm all alone, you got a hold of my mind, and I'll always let you know that I'm always gonna hold on. And I told you right from the start, you just say the word and I go. No, it doesn't matter how far, 'cause your love is all that I know. Baby, you just stay where you are, and you know I won't be too long. Hold on, hold on. Remember where I told you, no matter where I go, I'll never leave your side. You will never be alone. Even when we go through changes, even when we're old, remember that I told you I'll find my way back home.
So perfect. So for Jyoti and Scotland and Deep, that gives you also an insight into some of the fundraising things that all of the volunteers here do, and how hard our girls and women and men and boys, we all work in order to make sure that we are funding and supporting all of the great work that we're doing on the ground in India as well as in the US. I'd like to introduce Deep real quick. Cornerstone of Vibha, 13 years of tenure and hard work, along with Zankanaji. I have been told that you have really worked hard on the Pragati conference. It would not be a thing were it not for you. So everybody on the team looks to you for guidance, for advice. So thank you for being here, and we'd love to hear your story and some of what you have seen on the ground.
Thanks, Rohini. Thanks, everyone. So I'm not sure I can tell you, like the others have said, wow, that was a light bulb moment for me. I kind of wandered into the social development sector by chance. I was supposed to have joined an advertising agency in Nepal that many years ago. And it so happened that in those days, English language was an issue in Nepal. Few people spoke English. So within a month of my arriving in Kathmandu, I had several calls of people who wanted me to join them just because I spoke reasonable English, which was hilarious. But anyway, that's how my journey started. I just went in at random, and I began my journey over 40 years ago with ActionAid in Nepal. And that's how I got into this. So I initially joined, and there were only two of us, the director and myself, and we set up the whole organization in Nepal. So I worked my way through from being the receptionist, the accountant, the logistics manager, the tea maker, everything, because there's just two of us. And so I think that was great because it helped me to understand a lot about how systems work and stuff, and also develop my own management skills. So along the line, somewhere I wandered off into human resources and OD, organization development. And I got a qualification in that. And then several years, many years later, I got my second master's in the other HR, human rights. And that's where I was working with child rights organizations like UNICEF and Save the Children, Plan International, the entire thing. And worked across South Asia, worked across Southeast Asia, East Asia, as far as Mongolia. I mean, so I had fun all these years. So at a certain point of time when I was working with the human rights organizations in Nepal, the Maoist war was at its peak at that time. And being human rights organizations, we had security as well as the Maoists who were watching us very closely. And after an incident when one of our colleagues was abducted and kept for 12 hours, but not really did anything to them because, you know, those guys are really well educated. And they had a good discussion with him, wanting to understand what the organization was all about. But they knew everything about us, who we were, where we lived, you know, and then security became an issue. That's when we moved to India. And having worked in India for some time. Who's that?
I think Shruti, can you mute yourself?
Okay. So after that, I was in India for some time, and then I was a bit not happy with the advocacy work that was going on because, you know, 4 or 5 years down the line, you hear the same people, hear the same stuff. I was getting a bit disillusioned with that. So at that time, there was an opportunity with Dasra in Bombay, where they said they had this position where I was to work very closely with NGOs on the ground to help them strategize, plan, develop their systems. So that was absolutely very close to my heart. So I said, all right, and I joined them. So I had great time for 2 years there, met a lot of organizations. I had about 10, 11 organizations in my portfolio with whom I worked very closely. And I happened to be invited as speaker at one of the Pragatis, or the first Pragati in 2009. And I think it led from there. The Zankana then called me up one day. She says, are you looking for a change? Do you want to join us? And I didn't think twice about it, because I had heard about Vibha, I read about it, talked to people, and that's how I came to Vibha. So what keeps me inspired? When I joined Action Aid, things were really at a very nascent stage as far as development was concerned. In Nepal in particular, there were no roads. We had to walk. You had to walk up and down the mountains, There was no turning back. You had to walk down the mountain again if you wanted to get back. So hard 8 to 10 hours of walk per day kind of a thing whenever we went to the field. Not great places to stay in. Yeah, all kinds of animals and stuff like that. So it was an interesting period, and I think that really put me in there. But what really kept me in Action Aid for 15 years was the people who I met. Not that I was doing anything particularly at that time, because my role was to support the staff in the field, and my visits were mostly to talk to them, counsel them, whatever was required. But just the hope in the face of so much adversity that was in the, faces of these people, their ability to laugh, their ability to joke in difficult circumstances is what made me think, I said, wow, I'm such a privileged person. And here's an option for me to be able to do something. And that's how I got in there, and I stayed there for 15 years before I became a consultant for several years. And then I took a break to do my master's in human rights. It was damn tough. Because being a trainer, I'm used to being on the other side of the table. Suddenly you have to be a student and discipline yourself. It was not fun at the age of 40 plus to be there, do your assignments, and you had this whole bunch of young kids with you. And but it was good. It gave me a lot of exposure and a good understanding of how people are, what their rights are, what does it mean for us to be able to support them. So when I joined Vibha, I actually came with a blank slate, in my mind at least, about what I could do. Things were fairly simple in those days. We had our projects, we'd go visit them, we'd say what's working, what's not working, what we can do, and then come back, do our reports and a debrief and all that. But subsequently, the role of the team in India has changed tremendously. There is much more engagement with the partners. There's so much more discussion on strategy, so much more discussion on data management and all those kind of things, which were in much lesser degree earlier. So yeah, it's become so much more intensive now. But that's what is the trigger, that keeps me going, that you have this opportunity of doing much more than you want to, that you could have done in the past. And so that keeps me going, really. But then there are other things in Vibha, Pragati notwithstanding, many other things to do, where you can be part of a larger, what I call team across the globe, where you're able to put in your, bits worth to say, look, this is how we can do that. So what keeps me again going is what I see in the faces of people. Like, for example, if I go to, in my other projects I was handling earlier, you go there and the delight you see on the face of the children recognize you. When you go there next time, they'll say, oh, you are back, and, we want to take a photo with you, and come and see my work, come to my class, and the people dragging you in different directions, all that is quite so heartwarming. And also when you go to projects like RMKM that works on disability, it is heartwarming and what's the right word? Heart-rending at the same time. So it makes you really want to be able to do something, to say that you've contributed in some way to help make a change. I mean, that's what I want on my gravestone. She made a difference. Whatever little, But that's what it is. So no other great expectations. You just go out there and do what you have to do. So you're a warrior. I think women are warriors and you should remain so. Nobody can take that away from you. One of the biggest challenges that I have faced in the last 10, 12 years, I would say, is the fact that being a single woman, which all of us are in the Vibha team, incidentally, in India, and having full responsibility for a parent, that was the biggest challenge. Well, then, you make certain arrangements and then you go to visit the project, but inside you're not happy. You have that guilt running inside you. What is mom doing? Is she okay? Did she take a meds on time? Those kind of things. That was a source of constant stress. I think that was the biggest challenge in the last 12 years. Sorry about that. I'm a bit emotional.
That's okay. Take your moment, Deep. We are so proud of you. Balancing your personal life with our passion is the strongest challenge that women have. And I think we do a good job in overcoming it also. I think we all are very proud of you. Thank you so much for doing this.
And the courage to be vulnerable, right? So it takes a lot of courage to do what you do and also show your vulnerability to all of us. So we know that it's okay as well. So very brave. Why don't we let Jyoti, why don't we let Deep take a minute and Jasneet,
No, it's okay. I'm okay.
You okay?
It's just that I lost her a year ago. So.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
We're sorry to hear that. Yeah.
So anyway, I think I come from a family of very strong women. Every woman in the family is a huge achiever, globally, nationally, locally. We cover a lot of areas. We are in a development sector mostly, program management, strategists, disaster management specialists, early childhood. I mean, we have the entire thing. And I suppose it's daunting for the men in the family. We have such a bunch of women out there who they have to constantly, say, okay, women shut up for 2 minutes. So yeah, we are a bunch of really, really strong women. And it's scary, I think, for most men. But yeah. So, but the journey with Vibha has been super. I have not understood how 13 years went by. In fact, the other day when Kshitij asked me, how many years have you been with Vibha? I said 13. I said, oh my God, I've been here for 13 years. Where did they go? And I feel like I've done nothing, in that sense. And there's so much more to do. So the team here is fabulous because we've all now, taken on various responsibilities. We're working together to make sure that it's Vibha, that matters, not us. We are just there because we need to support the work we believe in. And I think that's the USP of the team because it's sometimes easy to be, blasé about your work or not be that connected to what's happening on ground. You do a job and you go away, but here it's not a job. It's a way of life. And I think that is very important to any organization. I see all of you guys doing all the fundraising and all the events, and so much of energy, enthusiasm, commitment. I mean, it's shocking sometimes to me to see the way you guys work so hard to make sure that the work in India and in the US continues, without any break. It's a relentless job, and I can't tell you how much we appreciate it. And every time you guys post something on what happened in Atlanta or Dallas or, the youth clubs, it makes me feel very humble. That, am I doing enough? That question, of course, always there, and that thirst, that hunger to do more is something that drives me. Funny enough, somebody asked me, when are you retiring? That's a question I get asked very often. When are you retiring? Or people have started calling me Buzurg. So I'm never going to retire. Sorry, if anybody's trying to fill my spot, I'm not going to retire quite so soon. But yeah, I think I'm not the retiring types. I will continue to work for as long as I can work. I'll work in different ways. I may not be physically active, but my mind, of course, will be active. So there is no retirement plan in sight, guys. I'll be with Vibha for as long as I can. And that would be, that's the motivating factor. I'm just seeing you guys, seeing our projects. That's what keeps me going. And I think that is what will keep me going. So that's all I have to say, really, about my journey in this thing. To women, what I would say is, as I said earlier, you're warriors, you're leaders, you're queens. You don't have to remain a warrior. You can be the leader. And not necessarily to lead from front. You can lead from the back as well. So just be there. Just understand your own worth. And regardless of what anyone tells you, you know who you are. That's it. Thanks, guys, for giving me the airtime. And sorry for the meltdown.
No worries.
Thank you so much, Deep.
Thank you guys for having us.
It was an amazing insight into your life, your work, your motivation. It's at one point I was just sitting here thinking, and I know many of us were sitting here thinking, what are we doing here? Why are we not down there with her?
Yeah.
So
no, if you are here, then who's going to do what you do?
Good point. Touche. So thank you so much. And I know, Deep, you said that you love to see things that we do here. Well, the next video that we have queued up that Jasneet's going to play is about our service projects. So not only do we fundraise, but we also work here. And we work with children in India as well. I know a lot of our youth have been engaged in that. And so let's take a really good quick look at some of the service projects that we have done. Some here in person, a lot on Skype because it has been COVID the last few years. We've been conducting a lot of camps, including like French, debate, dance, art, craft for kids in India. So let's take a look really quickly and see what we have done the past few years.
Mother, I'm coming home. I'll follow you into the park, through the jungle, through the dark. God, I never loved one like you. Boats and boats and waterfalls, alleyways and payphone calls. I'll be here never with you. We laugh until we think we'll die, barefoot on a summer night. Nothing new is sweeter than with you. And in the street we run free like it's only you and me. Geez, got something to see. Oh, let me go home. Home is not around with.
Thank you, Jasneet, for that. You also saw in there food drives. We saw sandwich making. We saw donations of clothing and various tutoring sessions for refugee children in the United States. We saw mentorship. We saw a lot of camps that we conducted in the United States as well as with children in India. So thank you, everybody out there who is working so hard, not just on the fundraising, so we can, fund a lot of this wonderful work, but also the hours that our volunteers are putting into the community is like literally tens and thousands of hours that we log every year. So I just wanted to showcase that, and a lot of it is powered by women and by girl volunteers. I know a lot of the leaders of a lot of these initiatives are women as well. So thank you so much. Last video of the evening would be, what are our volunteers actually saying? Like, what are they talking about? What do they feel about volunteering? Jasneet.
I love volunteering for Vibha because it provides me the opportunity to help my own community and individuals in need through just small actions that make a big difference. It also connects and unites people or volunteers from different places to help a cause, as it also increases our self-satisfaction and self-confidence. Vibha has helped me and people in need to lead a better life. I love Vibha.
Hi, my name is Nisa and I'm 8 years old. I am volunteering for Vibha and my mom is too.
Hi, my name is Maryma Scotlin. I volunteer for Vibha.
I feel impactful, grateful, and inspired.
Gratitude, community, fulfilling.
Volunteering with Vibha makes me feel great.
I feel my cup is full.
When I volunteer, I feel fulfilled and grateful for the opportunity.
Volunteering is fulfilling.
It gives me a sense of accomplishment, helps me build meaningful connections, gives me a lot of satisfaction and joy.
Fulfilled. Vibha means to me being able to give back to those who are less fortunate than us. As a youth lead, I have the wonderful opportunity to be able to inspire our next generation to do the same. I love Vibha.
Fun and satisfaction.
Fantastic opportunity to give back to the society.
I love volunteering for Vibha.
I love volunteering for Vibha too.
Thank you for helping us make a difference. Go Vibha!
Thank you, Vibha, for this opportunity.
I love Vibha. Thanks, Vibha.
We love Vibha.
Thank you, Vibha.
V for Vibha.
Go Vibha.
Empowered by Vibha to make a difference.
I love volunteering for Vibha because one is surrounded with so much positivity. Just the sheer joy that volunteering brings, coupled with knowing how the efforts and donations make a difference, is amazing.
Vibha is incredible.
I love Vibha.
Let's do great things. Come join Vibha.
We love volunteering at Vibha.
I love Vibha.
So that was a video that was culled from so many volunteers and children sending in all of their messages over this past couple of weeks. So thank you everybody who contributed to that. And we love Vibha as well. We are almost at the end and we're just running a few minutes over, but we can't go without our dance. So with that said, we're gonna move this to Jasneet, and she has a lovely dance prepared for us. So if you all wouldn't mind turning on your videos so we can see each other. And Jasneet, take it from here.
All right. You guys can hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So I realized that this, it's either very early morning for everybody or very late in the evening for everybody. So we're just not going to get up from our chairs. We're just going to be on our chairs. I'm just going to adjust my camera. It's only going to be hands. And we're going to do 2 short songs, inspirational and fun. So please join me. Okay. All right. I'm going to play the music. Sometimes it doesn't play very well, so let me know if it doesn't. Okay, ready? Everyone.
दीवारें ऊंची है, गलियां है तंग, लंबी डगर है पर हिम्मत है संग, पाँव पे छाले हैं सांसें बुलंद, लड़ने चली हूँ आजादी की जंग, बेखौफ आजाद है कहना मुझे, बेखौफ आजाद है रहना मुझे, बेखौफ आजाद है जीना मुझे, बेखौफ आजाद है रहना मुझे।
हूँ मीठी मीठी सी ये मुनिया सर पे डाले है ये चुनिया क्यों, हाँ क्यों, हो सोनी सोनी सी कुड़ी नू मौज में रहने दे ना दुनिया क्यों, हाँ दुनिया क्यों, है कितनी शानदार कुड़ी ये कर देगी कमाल, इसे झूमने दे अपनी बीट दे, कुड़ी नू नचने दे, हाँ नचने दे, तू आज लगाने दे ठुमके, हाँ चमके, कुड़ी नू नचने दे, हाँ नचने दे, तू सारे या फिक्रा नू छड़ के, बन ठन के, कुड़ी नू नचने दे, हाँ नचने दे, तू आज लगाने दे ठुमके, हाँ चमके, कुड़ी नू नचने दे, हाँ नचने दे, तू सारे या फिक्रा नू छड़ के, बन ठन के, कुड़ी नू नचने दे।
Fantastic.
All right.
That was nice.
That was fun.
That was
you.
fantastic, a fantastic end. And I would like to invite Ashwini as our CEO and Jasneet, our volunteer relations, to say a few words of thank you. And then whoever wants to stay and ask questions are welcome to. So thank you everyone for coming. Take it away, Ashwini.
I mean, just that it was so good. Thank you so much, Rohini, for celebrating the Women of Vibha today. And thank you, Deep, Scotlin, Jyoti, for sharing your inspiring stories, for being vulnerable today, and really giving us an insight into your life and about the difference that we are making in Vibha. I'm just left inspired to do more. And I'm inviting everybody here to also, give us your ideas, give us your time, and give us your love, and we can go places. And Jasneet, take it away.
Okay, I just want to extend my thanks, extend whatever Ashwini said. Thanks to everybody for being here. Thanks to our project leads for being there on the ground, Jyoti, Deep, and I'm sorry, I forget.
Scotlin.
Yeah, Scotlin. See, Scotlin. And Scotlin, actually, she was, I mean, you were really inspiring. Thanks for letting us know. There were some incidents, especially, talking about the night and how, you've been in the hotels and by yourself. It's kind of like, yeah, I've been in similar situations. So yeah, we all relate to that. Thank you so much for being persistent in what you were doing, in following your passion, in being around and sticking around with us. Thanks everybody. Thanks all the volunteers for being here. Thank you, Rohini, she did all the groundwork, put together everything. I would say, I know Ashwini, she did a lot of brainstorming with Ashwini and Rohini, and I said, okay, I'll just play everything for you and take all the credit. But so thank you so much, Rohini, for doing this. Thank you so much, Ashwini, for initiating this. Thanks everybody for being here. Let's all stick together, take our woman power, take our manpower, and continue to make the difference. Thank you so much.
Excellent.
So I think we'll stay back for some time if anybody wants.
If anybody has any questions of our panelists, of each other, this is an open forum. If you need to drop off, we are officially closed, but unofficially the party begins. So.
Well, I just want to say thank you for all of you for doing all the hard work. Cannot thank you enough, especially people on the ground. You make our job easy and make us proud. Thank you.
Hey, this is Praveer. I just want to quickly say that, all the stories of the ladies was very, very inspiring. And just also that all of the women that work in Vibha inspired all of us. So thank you guys. Keep doing this.
Thank you, Praveer.
Thank you to all the men for the support that we get as well.
Absolutely.
And maybe Ashwini, maybe we should open a chapter in Japan now, I guess.
Oh, yes. Oh yeah. Shri, thank you for joining from Japan. And I hope everybody else saw the videos of your team saw the videos of Vibha as well. Are they inspired? Yes, they are. Let's go.
Let's go.
Is Shri in Japan really? Like, can we really actually start a chapter in Japan?
Next time, I spend a lot of time here. So.
Did you really?
Okay.
I spend a lot of time
how cool
here.
that would be? We could have like anime videos next.
Exactly. Exactly. It's one of the company we have actually does that.
Oh, see.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Deep, Jyoti, and MS. It was very good listening to you guys, and let us know if we can support you any other way as well. Thanks.
Thanks. And I think Lauren is new to, right, Lauren?
Lauren,
yes. I guess I'm relatively new. I joined, officially joined as an advisory board member a few months back. And I am on Vibha thanks to Seema. Seema is the one who introduced me to the organization. And I am very proud to be a member of this amazing group of men and women. And I think the one thing that I'm really impressed with and that gives me a lot of comfort is that everyone so far that I've met and who have spoken tonight, you've all been with Vibha from almost the beginning, if not the beginning. So that just tells me that there is such deep commitment from everyone, and they truly believe in this organization and the cause. And I think that's just fantastic. So thank you for sharing your stories, and you truly inspire me. And I'm glad to be a part of Vibha.
Thank you, Lauren.
Sure.
I
Thank
see
you,
that
Lauren.
Arti has joined us. Arti, I know that you're down with fever. We're so sorry, but thank you for joining us. I just was wondering if you wanted to say a few words.
Hi team, good morning. My health is not well today and I take a heavy dose medicine. So that medicine do not allow me to
No worries. No worries.
We will have a separate
for all
session
you
for
do.
you, Arti.
Next time. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much,
Feel
guys.
better, Arti. Thank you so much for.
Feel better.
Yeah.
And thank you, Kshitij. I just want to say it was Kshitij's idea. When we were brainstorming as to what to do for Women's Day, he said we should bring on these powerful women in our team who are working on the ground. And wonderful idea. Thank you, Kshitij.
Yeah, actually, I also want to say that usually, we are always just talking about the projects and, how the projects are doing, how much funding and all this kind of stuff, and we always forget the the actual people who are behind and who are doing all this on the ground. And I think today was an amazing. I was listening to every word which was coming from the team, and it's great to have this. And thanks, Ashwini, Rohini, Jasneet for organizing. This was fantastic. Thanks a lot.
Thank
you for the suggestion, Shijit. And thank you for all of you guys. It was very inspiring to hear your stories. When you were talking, Deep, about like walking through the mountains and like, and the people is what fueled you, I really felt that. Definitely. It was amazing.
Awesome. All right.
Yeah. I have so many questions, but I know it's like 10:50 and it's early morning for you guys there. But couple of questions for Scotlin, because I know Scotlin went in the beginning and we might, we couldn't kind of ask her the questions directly. So Scotlin, I know you worked in Andaman, right? And you didn't talk about that.
Yes, I did. Actually, me, there was nobody willing to go to. It is not Andaman. Andaman is like any other city in India. So it was Great Nicobar and
Great Nicobar,
and all
right.
that. Great Nicobar Islands. And they say then the organization that time that I worked for, they said like, okay, nobody's willing to go. So for me, it is like, okay, when I heard that the entire Indira Point was washed away, so I landed up in Campbell Bay. That's where our defense, our Indian government has relocated our retired Jawans there and assuring them 16 acres of land. And this happened between 1969 to 82. 3 batches were left there. So their entire agricultural land was washed away. So I was there to do a livelihood program there. And what I understood was, so that is, I've never worked, after landing in Nicobar, because from Andaman Islands to go to Great Nicobar, I have just 2 boats and it's a 36 hour by sea. And if I take a helipad, I have to take official permissions, and it takes 2.5 hours to land there. So I had to wait for 15, and I had to fight with the officials there to at least allow me to reach Nicobar. It was not that easy. They said like very clearly, like officials go there or the dead bodies go there. And I said like, no, okay, anyway, allow me to go to the island. But when I landed there, like it took me 15 days. I had to wait and I had to, because I told them very clearly, the organization that I worked for has given me an assignment and I just wanted to do that. It was that was very clear in my mind. And when I landed in the Great Nicobar Islands, of course, what I understood is it was such a wealthy community because because it's a popular island of 8. I can call it as a Virgin Island. It's like 8,000 people live there, and they were doing multiple businesses. So I thought like, okay, because every time we go there with something in mind, when you land there and when you understand the ground and see the reality, it is totally different. But still, for the project, from the project point of view, I was there for a year. And we just implemented the program. I would say it's basically like doing the activities, but the deeper you go in any area, what happens is like generally like you get because it's like you get into areas which is very, very gray. Because then what I understood, it just in the interest of time, it was the Indian government has pulled up a big set in Great Nicobar to claim it as India. So that summarizes everything. So every businessman, usually whenever I go to communities and work, one is the community that supports me and protects me, because I didn't even have a space to stay there. So there was only one guest house, and where the commissioner, I had to get permission from the commissioner every 3 days to renew my place of stay. So it is always a community support. So there in that island, they declared me as a nurse, so that nobody disturbs me in my work. So that's from the community side of it. And of course, the businessmen started warning me that don't get deeper into anything So if you have activities to be done as per the project, please execute it and leave ASAP. So that was so it's like, you go to any community, it was always community protected me, and you learn a lot as well. Then after that, after some time, like that also becomes your home anywhere. But what I understood was, anywhere I go, I make it a home. So that was a very big experience, learning experience for me. And that's the reason I just like left after a year from Great Nicobar.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I remember we talking about it when we were on the way to Mahabalipuram, and that kind of stuck in my mind.
Yes.
So I thank you so much, Scotlin. Wonderful, wonderful to hear from you. Wonderful to hear about how you did not want to do engineering more than anything else. So thank you so much. I don't think there are any questions in the chat.
Okay.
So,
So I think we can close.
We can close it and say good night to everybody. Thank you for coming.
Great job, Rohini.
Great day,
Thank
and
you.
we will meet
Thanks,
again.
thanks all.
Absolutely.
Thanks all.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Women
Rohini.
power.
You're such a natural. Rohini, you're such a natural. You have to get more of this from you.
Okay, will do. Not more than you guys, but yes.
Say hello. You all inspire each other.
Oh, hi, Rajesh.
We have Rajesh. Oh, yes, we have Rajesh, all the women in your house.
Yeah.
Yeah, but thank you for joining us.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, and
Bye-bye.
happy Women's Day once again to all
Could
the
we have
wonderful
everybody on the camera for just a few minutes, so we could take
Whoever's here? Yeah, sure. That'll be good. Anita, Venki, Monica, Kapil, Ron.
Arti, 1 minute, if you can, Monica, Ron.
Sirisha?
You won't get a whole lot of me. I'm driving, so.
Okay. But concentrate on the road, Monica.
Yeah.
Concentrate on the road.
Yeah, we don't.
So now I'm on the freeway. I was in the city traffic when most of the
there we see
conversation
you.
was happening. So now it's okay.
Hi, Ron. Venki, are you there? You want to, and Renuka? Hey!
Hi, I'm
Renuka.
Okay, I think I got. Yeah, I think a lot of people dropped off.
Yeah.
It was very well attended. There were 33 people at one point of time.
Hi, Venki.
36 at one point.
Yeah.
Oh, that's 6, yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
Hello.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Rohini,
Bye.
for hosting this.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye. See you later.